The first scream came from the back of the plane. A jolt, a violent tilt, and suddenly Flight 392 was no longer a calm evening trip from Denver to Washington. Oxygen masks dropped. People cried out. Bags fell from overhead bins. The aircraft shuddered like a wounded animal struggling to breathe. But in Seat 7A, 14-year-old Aria Maddox did not scream. Her hands trembled, yes, her heart raced, but her eyes were steady as she looked through the window and saw them, two F-22 fighter jets flying tight formation beside the plane. Her mother clutched her arm. Aria, sweetheart, don't look. It's going to be okay, just. But Aria did look. Because she recognized something no one else on the plane possibly could. One of those jets bore a symbol on its tail. A phoenix. The call sign, Phoenix, had been her father's. And though she was just a quiet kid sitting in Seat 7A, she carried a secret the world didn't know yet. Aria Maddox could fly. Not a commercial plane. Not yet. But her father had taught her everything about fighter jets before he died on a mission 3 years ago. Simulators. Manuals. Strategy drills. The last bond they shared. She knew the language, the signals, the codes. And she recognized the pattern those F-22s were flying. It wasn't escorting. It was warning. Something was wrong with their plane. The pilot's trembling voice came over the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing a serious system failure. We are working to regain control. Please remain calm. We may need to attempt an emergency landing. Passengers sobbed. A baby wailed. A businessman in first class prayed under his breath. Aria closed her eyes and heard her dad's voice from a memory, one that never stopped echoing. Fear is a passenger. You are the pilot. She unbuckled. Aria, her mother whispered urgently. Sit down, honey, please. Everyone needs to stay seated. But Aria shook her head. Mom, I know what's happening. I need to get to the cockpit. Her mother stared at her, horrified. Aria, you're a child. They won't. They will if the F-22s tell them to. It took a flight attendant, a frightened co-pilot, and a desperate 3-minute argument before they finally let her in. The cockpit was chaos. Warning lights flashed like shattered lightning. Controls jerked and resisted. The captain looked at her, pale, sweating. Kid, unless you're secretly a certified pilot, you need to go back. Aria swallowed. Her voice shook, but the words were clear. Call sign Phoenix Rising. Authorization Echo 379. Connect me to the lead Raptor outside. Both pilots froze. The co-pilot whispered, That's a military authentication. Aria nodded. My father was Lieutenant Commander Maddox. If those jets are flying Phoenix formation, they know who I am. Patch me through. The radio crackled. Flight 392, identify yourself immediately. We need control status. Aria leaned forward, pressed the transmission button, and spoke into the mic. This is Phoenix Cub. Silence followed. Then a voice, stunned, softened, almost reverent. Cub? Is that really you? She recognized the voice. Captain Reyes. Her father's closest wingman. The man who had delivered the folded flag at her father's funeral. A lump rose in her throat, but she forced her voice steady. We've lost hydraulic systems. You're flying a containment pattern. The nose keeps pitching into a dive. Confirm. Confirmed. Reyes exhaled. Cub, tell me what you need. The captain stared as the child in 7A became something else entirely. Aria instructed step by step. Reroute secondary control. Reduce engine thrust. Adjust trim, slow and steady. If you fight the plane too hard, she'll roll. The pilots followed her words. Inch by inch, the plane stabilized enough to level. Passengers felt the change. The screams quieted. Hope, fragile as glass, took shape. Turbulent minutes passed, every second a lifetime, until finally. Runway in sight, the co-pilot breathed. Reyes' voice came through once more. Cub, you're your father's kid, all right. Bring them home. With a shaking breath, Aria gave the last command. Flaps down. Landing gears. Gentle descent. The plane touched the runway rough, bouncing, skidding, people braced, praying. Then stillness. A stunned, miraculous stillness. Emergency crews swarmed the plane. Passengers evacuated in tears, hugging strangers, thanking the pilots. News cameras gathered. Reporters shouted. But Aria Maddox, the kid from seat 7A, stood quietly beside her mother, looking up at the sky where 2 F-22s banked in farewell. The radio had one last message, just for her. Phoenix Cub, the skies never lost you. Someday, if you want it, your wings are waiting. Tears filled her mother's eyes as she held her daughter close. Aria, how did you know what to do? Aria looked at the clouds, soft, endless, the color of every dream she and her father once shared. Dad taught me, she whispered. And I wasn't going to let fear fly the plane. Final message, inspiring ending. We are all sitting in a seat 7A at some point in life, afraid, unsure, convinced we are ordinary. But inside us, there are skills, memories, and strength shaped by the ones who loved us. When the world shakes and alarms sound, we have a choice. Let fear pilot our life. Or take control and land where we are meant to be. And sometimes, the sky calls us by a name we haven't dared to speak yet. A name that reminds us who we are. Not just a passenger. Not just a kid. But someone born to fly.